Yeah. All right, we're live. Tabea, kia ora, vinaka, everyone. Thank you so much for joining with us. We don't have a lot of time. We have 4 hours of amazing guests, so we're going straight into it. We're dealing with some issues with Dr. Rosiana Langi right now, so we'll hopefully she come back. So we'll try to fix it. We'll try to fix some things. But we have with us right now Auntie Aroha Mead. Aroha, Auntie, I know you have to hop on a plane in a little bit, so we'll jump right into it. Where is Indigenous knowledge going right now? It can be a very complex question. When you first read that question, what went through your mind? How did you synthesize that question?
Oh, well, I looked at it in terms of things that are happening within our own community, so at the cultural level, but then also some of what's playing out at the global level and in terms of national policy. But if I look at the cultural level, I mean, there are so many examples of Indigenous peoples who are continuing to do all that is possible to teach and transmit Indigenous knowledge, values, and practices to our future generations within the constraints of the colonial context in which we live. Um, and this includes reasserting greater control over those areas, particularly socioeconomic areas where our people have languished, such as the education system, the justice system, state care of our children, the health care. And in reasserting greater control, what we're seeing is that it's our knowledge, it's our Indigenous knowledge and practices that is the key to moving forward and to bringing about the kind of change we need to see to get better outcomes for our people. But at the heart of it all is the continued priority for restitution and restoration of our ancestral lands. There's a report here in New Zealand from the Waitangi Tribunal called Ko Aotearoa Tēnei, where they actually say that we can sustain maybe 2 generations without direct access and contact with our lands, but by the 3rd generation, it deteriorates to a point of loss. And we need access to the lands because those are where the resources are that feed our knowledge systems. It is the interaction that we have with nature, with our sacred areas that feeds all of what makes us who we are. It inspires us in our arts and creative fields, but it also has quite practical uses in terms of access to our medicines and our traditional ways of life. So we're at in New Zealand, we're at generation 3 right now. And so that push for restitution of lands is more important than it has ever been.
Auntie, when it comes to you've been considered by many a veteran in Indigenous rights movement. In your 30 years of experience, how do you see the perception of Indigenous knowledge? Obviously, before it was mainly considered traditional knowledge. Now we're moving to a little bit towards Indigenous knowledge. That development, how are you looking at it?
Well, it has there's heightened interest in Indigenous knowledge, and there is a greater understanding that there's a distinction between traditional and Indigenous knowledge. So I guess we should be glad that at least the world has become more nuanced, more sophisticated. But with that heightened interest comes some concerns that if the behaviours that fed the systemic issues around the conduct of science and research aren't addressed, then we'll see the same thing playing out. We already do in the area of Indigenous knowledge, where you have non-Indigenous researchers claiming to be experts, where they are still following an extractive model of research, of just taking for their own gain, and not giving anything back to communities. And I think it's really important that we, remain vigilant in taking a stand that our knowledge comes with us. It's not separate from us, and to not allow anyone to separate communities from the knowledge that they're wanting to access and research.
Mm-hmm. Also, in terms of you've been working with IUCN as well, and any things that make you either go in terms of Indigenous knowledge, or something that you like, that you're really looking forward to that can develop over the next couple of years? So sorry, Auntie, you're on mute, so I can't hear you right now at the moment. Yep.
Right. Did you mean just in general at the international level, are we seeing sort of bright spots where Indigenous knowledge is being used?
Yeah, for example.
Yeah. Okay. I think within the Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, there's potential for some good things to happen in that space. They're currently involved in producing an assessment on using multiple values of nature, and multiple values and valuation of nature, which inevitably includes Indigenous knowledge. But I think it always, we always have that nagging doubt that the basic fundamental issue that knowledge comes with a people, and commitment to knowledge is about commitment to the people. I don't know if we're making as much progress on that front as we should. I think Western science, global processes, they're obsessed with this notion of scaling up. And, it's an immediate response almost, that if they see something they like in a local community, they want to scale it up to a community on the other side of the world, or to a whole country. And of course, our knowledge wasn't designed for that purpose. It works best when it's place-based and people-based, and that it's enabling and empowering of the communities from which the knowledge comes. I think we've got a long way to go in that area. And as I said previously, we really have to be vigilant about always insisting the people go with the knowledge. It's not a field in itself, in other words. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm prone to rattle off very, very quickly. Apologize. I'm notorious for making diplomatic faux pas and doing stuff like that, so I apologize for that. Auntie, any final thoughts? We're running out of time.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts that you would like to share with people, you want people to think about or consider when it comes to Indigenous knowledge?
That there's a reason that our knowledge has survived through all of the trials and tribulations that it has. Our knowledge is grounded in a whole ethical, social, cultural framework that works. It's not a fad, it's not a fashion, it's something that has enabled our people to be resilient and survive. And this is our job. This is our number one job, is to take care of our knowledge, and to always be the leaders in this field, not the participants. So Indigenous knowledge is the area that we control, that we lead, that we make the decisions about who we share it with and under what circumstances. And let's not bow down to somebody else who might want it. It comes with us, the people.
Auntie Aroha, ngā mihi for your korero, and safe flights.
Thank you.
And yeah, hopefully we'll talk soon in a much broader context of.
Okay then. Kia ora. Good luck with all of this.